We're releasing a brand new top 247 rankings update, and to help us break down those new rankings, let's welcome in our friend, 24/7 Sports Director of Scouting, Andrew Ivins. Andrew, you just weren't busy enough getting ready for Wednesday, so you guys are just going to go ahead and do a whole other update to get us ready to go. So before we present the 5 stars, tell us a little bit more about what goes into the evaluation process for this latest update.
Yeah, we wanted to get a little bit of a tweak in here before signing day. We had a few postseason all-star events, the Alabama-Mississippi game. I was at the Shrine Bowl of the Carolinas as well. And then obviously you had the state playoffs. I mean, Texas just wrapped up over the weekend. So not a ton of wholesale changes with this, but some guys slide up on the board. And really, we stayed put with a lot of these guys that are in the top 247 because we're going to see them in a few weeks at the Under Armour All-America game and the All-American Bowl, and then obviously the Polynesian Bowl before we finalize these things. So a lot of senior film, a lot of live evaluations, and just trying to get the pieces in order before we finalize it, like I said.
Yeah, just like our updates, these players are not complete products yet, so you continue to update that. Before we show you the list of 5 stars, I'm going to ask you one more time to hit that like button. We really do appreciate it. A lot of people watching, and a lot of people want to know about those 5 stars, so let's go ahead and present them to you, starting with 32 to 26, and we have no new 5 stars, because 3 of those, of the 9 total wide receivers in the top 32 are in this section. And speaking of pass catchers, I got to highlight the number 1 and only 5-star tight end in Penn State commit Luke Reynolds, coming in at number 27, up a couple of spots there. Let's move up the list, 25 to 20. Starting to see some of those edge defenders in this section. South Carolina commit Dylan Stewart and Texas pledge Colin Simmons, both top 25 nationally. Let's move on up to 19 to 11, and that is where you will find the new number 1 offensive tackle, one of our biggest risers in this latest update, Colorado commit Jordan Seaton, up to the number 13 overall player in the class. Let's show you the top 10, and once again, our number 1 player is unchanged, Jeremiah Smith, the wide receiver committed to Ohio State. And our number 1 quarterback and number 2 overall player remains Dylan Raiola. But take a look at number 4 there. DJ Lagway moving on up. I know my friend Smoke over here is going to ask you about that in a bit, but I've got to talk about the number 1 player, because Smith, Andrew, holds firm as the top player in the cycle. What has he done and what has he shown you to keep that top title?
Well, what hasn't he done, right? I mean, it's been a productive career there at Chaminade Madonna Prep. Just won his 3rd straight state title. In the state title game, I mean, opening drive, all 3 passes went to him for 69 yards and a touchdown. This is a kid that had 88 catches as a senior for just under 1,400 yards and 19 touchdowns. We continue to think he is the safest bet. Florida, Florida State, Miami, all trying to make a run at Jeremiah Smith here down the stretch, and it's easy to see why. I mean, we think this is a guy that could step in right away and play at the Power 5 level. So he maintains that spot. He's a guy we have liked throughout this process. I compare him a little bit to Julio Jones. I think you could pick your NFL wide receiver and draw some similarities to him. So Jeremiah Smith stays at the top. It's the on-field resume. It's what he does off the field. He has just been the best of the best to date so far.
Well, the number 1 guy for me out of this old quarterback thing is DJ Lagway. He jumped from 17 to number 4. I'm just studying him over the course of the season. What made him jump up from 7 to 4?
Well, Smoke, I mean, we're going through all these quarterbacks in their senior seasons. DJ Lagway, I don't think any player in America had as good of a senior season as him. Coming into the year, 10-10 as a starter, so a 500 record. Well, he goes 12-1 for Willis High School, leading them to the regional finals for the first time since 1994. That 12-1 record, best record in 60 years at the school, and it's not a powerhouse. I mean, Willis is only going to have 1 other player sign on Wednesday alongside DJ Lagway, so he was the difference. Texas 6A state record in touchdown passes with 59. My guy Gabe Brooks on the scouting team, he compared the senior seasons for Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes and DJ Lagway. They are near identical as seniors coming out of high school. I love the way this kid throws the football. He improved as a passer, and then he's just a dynamic athlete. We're talking about 6'3", 225 pounds. He can use that core balance to make off-platform throws. We think he has one of the highest ceilings here. There were some conversations behind the scenes about potentially making him the #1 prospect. We elected to wait. Want to see what he does at the Under Armour All-American game. But Billy Napier and the Florida Gators, assuming they're holding on to DJ Lagway, he is a guy that can transform that program because he can beat you with his arm and he can beat you with his legs.
Yeah, you mentioned hold on. I know some of those new coaches at some Texas schools were trying to make some in-home visits with him and keep him in state, but it seems like Florida remains pretty solid for his commitment. How about another big riser, Jordan Seaton? What was the conversation behind his big jump?
Well, Emily, you know this. I mean, throughout the cycle, we've been doing these shows, for, I don't know, a year now. We keep saying, hey, there's no premium corner protectors out there, or this cycle lacks it. And after diving into all of the tape, we feel like Jordan Seaton is the best of the bunch. I mean, he is super light on his feet. We've mentioned it in the past, how he has transformed his body since the first time I saw him at the FBU Freshman All-American game. That's where I'm at tonight to see these 2027 prospects. 3 years ago, I saw Jordan Seaton on the field behind me. You know, he's this big, kind of pudgy kid. He reworked the body, and then it's just his ability to not only move the feet and get down to the second level, but react and recover and pass protection. His final game against St. Francis Academy, I thought it was the best game he has played to date. Nasty finisher, helped his team finish 10-0. Another guy we're excited to see in the postseason All-Star events, and I think if you're a fan of Colorado and you watch them give up all those sacks in 2023, you got to be fired up because Jordan Seaton is going to provide help and potentially in year one.
With the All-Star game looming right now, you know, there's a couple of guys that are right there on the cusp of getting this five-star status. Who are some of the names with the guys that could get that next bump up to 5-star?
Well, it starts with Amarius Williams, a Florida pass rusher commit out of the state of North Carolina. What's interesting about Amarius is he could actually be a class of 2025 recruit. He's got a late August birthday. His parents obviously put him in school early. I thought the senior tape for him was awesome. You'll see him here rushing the passer. He's listed at 270 pounds. And what's crazy is in the state playoffs there in North Carolina, they actually had to start him at running back down the stretch. In the final 4 games of the season, 14 offensive touchdowns, and it's not like he's some big fullback, running in between the tackles. Amarius Williams is outrunning people. Another big potential riser for us, Josiah Thompson, the South Carolina offensive tackle commit. I just talked about, this cycle lacking some premium corner protectors. Well, I saw Josiah Thompson at the Shrine Bowl of the Carolinas. He's over 6'6". He's got long levers, super light, kind of reminds us of David Sanders from the 2025 cycle, but not many guys move like him. I think he's a monster win for the Gamecocks. They need to rebuild that offensive line. Shane Beamer does. Josiah Thompson, probably a developmental guy, but just like with Jordan Seaton, huge ceiling, prototypical offensive tackle. He can move his feet and protect the quarterback's blind side. Finally, Tre'Dez Green, LSU tight end commit. This guy was awesome in the inside the Superdome or Mercedes-Benz Dome. I don't even know what they call it down there in New Orleans now. In the state title game, 96 catches and a touchdown. He was productive all year long. Our guy Gabe Brooks on the scouting team signaled us, hey, man, we got to get him higher. Didn't really want to shake up the tight ends too much. Obviously, Luke Reynolds is number 1 for us. Carter Nelson is number 2. And then right behind that is Tre'Dez Green. And what's awesome is we're going to get all 3 of them at the All-American Bowl in San Antonio. But he's a perimeter winner on the outside. He's a guy that is going to give opposing defenses fits just with the combination of his size and hands.
All right, so we showed you the 5 stars. We talked about the almost 5 stars, but the entire top 247 went through an update. I feel the need to say this every time we do an update. That's 247 players. So who are some of the notable risers that you feel deserve a special mention?
Yeah, I don't think me and Cooper Patagna slept this weekend. We were grinding the midnight lamp trying to close out this update. Biggest riser off the top of my head, Will Eccles, two-way lineman out of the state of Mississippi. Cooper saw him at practices for the Alabama-Mississippi game. He thought he was the best player there, and that's why he shot up on the board. Committed to Ole Miss, They like him on defense. We think he can play offense. We'll see how it shakes out. But we're talking about Mississippi's Mr. Football for the class of 4A. It's always rare to see a lineman like that get that award. But he had 15 sacks, 73 tackles in 9 games. He's twitchy and he's powerful, a rare combination. Ryan Puglisi was another riser for us, the quarterback commit for Georgia out of the state of Connecticut. This is a guy we got a good, hard look at the Elite 11 finals back in June. Thought he threw a bit of a fastball, and he's got a baseball background, but it was too much of a fastball. We wanted to see more touch from him, and we saw that during his senior season up there in New England. I think Georgia, we'll see what happens with Dylan Raiola, but Ryan Puglisi is someone that the folks in Athens are excited about, and we're excited about him as well. I think the most underrated part of his game, as you just saw it right there, is his ability to run the football. He is athletic. You can see kind of that baseball background show up again. He can pick up yardage. And then finally, the third one for us, Lugard Edopaye. I hope I got that name right. Just kind of learned about him. He's someone that came on our radar a few months ago. I call him a spider. He is over 6'6", and he has some of the longest limbs in the 2024 cycle. One school told me when he visited, he had a 7'1" wingspan. He uses that reach to his advantage, snap after snap. And I think what also stands out about Lugard is he also can win with the get off. Michigan is involved in the recruitment. Tennessee's involved in the recruitment. Maryland, Smokes Old School, is involved in the recruitment. Rutgers. He is the classic case of a late riser and a guy with a basketball background. So one of the more unique body types we have come across here in the 2024 cycle. I think he's a developmental guy, but man, if he pans out, you want that length on your defense.
Smoke was mouthing beast. When you talk about, a 7-foot plus wingspan is pretty nuts.